Hey guys, it is Tristan with Nerdette's NewsStand, and I want to talk about this running narrative I've been seeing going around lately that our heroes, as we know them when it comes to the big two, are dead. I also want to talk about my channel as a whole and moving forward in a new segment I am going to be adding as far as live streaming goes, but I will get to that in the end. I want to talk first about figures, and this is kind of the boring part, but when it comes to people saying that our comic books, the big two, they're done, they're dead, it's not realistic. I want to talk about the comic books and then the franchises as a whole. So I looked at Comic-Con, which is just the weirdest website to navigate. It's a little bit of a hot mess, but even so, I took 3 random months, 3 years apart, right? So I started with October. October of this year shows, pretty good sales figures. I mean, of course, we're not going to get back to where we were in the 90s, but to have almost 300,000 sold on X-Men has changed a lot. They've listened. X-Men has gotten good. Jonathan Hickman has done a wonderful job. Now we even see Spawn getting up there. Spawn is such a good character. I'm actually really glad to see this. I believe this was probably... Oh, it's issue 301. I actually was going to say I thought it was 300, but Powers of X, House of X. These numbers are pretty good. So let's take a look to see if our heroes are dead, right? Let's look at the year before, October 2018. The numbers are worse, right? The numbers are substantially worse. And then if we go a year back, 2017, again, worse. We are getting numbers finally climbing up. What does this mean? This could mean a lot of things. But what I think it means to me is that they're listening. Our people that we look up to when it comes to artists or writers are listening. They're taking note. They're changing. They're not pandering to an audience that is not buying their books anymore. They're bringing stuff out like, say DC, for example. DC created Black Label books for stories a little darker, a little grittier, a little more adult for their fans that didn't want the normal run-of-the-mill continuity lines. Now, I have seen maybe 2 books. I would say the Frank Miller Superman and the Frank Miller Golden Child, and actually I really wasn't a big fan of the Wonder Woman Dead Earth either, but the rest have been fantastic. Like, if you want a really good Batman story, read Last Night on Earth by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. Absolutely perfection. Ties off their run amazingly, and that's what when they listen and they create something new for fans that want that little bit of a darker, gritty story, it works out fantastically. The Question just came out this week. I absolutely love it. It's not my favorite book, personally, but I think it's very good. Jeff Lemire has been doing great things when it comes to Killer Smile, along with Steven Stachek for Harleen. Like, these stories, I can't even complain about, and I have reviewed a lot of them, but they are fantastically done. Now let's talk continuity. So as far as this goes, we did just see the Year of the Villain. It seemed a little redundant. I think it is going to lead into this new Crisis event we're getting with 5G, but as of right now, it looks like the 5G storyline is going to be extremely temporary. They are going to piss us off to bring us back in full numbers. Nobody wants Luke Fox as Batman, but people are going to want to know what they're going to do to bring Bruce Wayne back. It's a selling point. You confuse your audience. You anger them a little bit, so when the actual good Bruce Wayne Batman comes back, and we're getting this like aging thing, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on just from what I've personally read. But then you bring them back in full force. So our legends, our heroes dead? Absolutely not. Like, you can't compete with these storylines. You can't compete with household names. You are never going to be able to compete on that level. Now, do I think indie comics should be uplifted and supported. Absolutely. Like, there are great indie comics out there. Lone Star, Jawbreakers, Black Hops, Earthworm Jim, Ravage. Like, I could keep naming these. Flying Sparks. There is a lot of really, Von Klaus's book, Dr. MD, looks fantastic. There are a lot of really good books that I will support, absolutely, because the best way to support people, or whether it's indie or whether it's big name books, is with your dollars. So you don't buy comics unless you can, feel like you can back the creator. Now, unfortunately, I do make the mistake of buying a lot of comics that I'm like, ooh, this could be a really funny review. Yeah, that's probably not the best thing, especially when it comes to people like Zoe Quinn. So that's another comment I keep getting. When it comes to her being hired by DC. Yeah, I absolutely was disgusted and appalled. I was beyond, that was the maddest video I have ever made. But what people tend to forget is before the Alex Hawaka situation is when she was hired, because it happened and then the announcement of her book was a week later. So it wasn't like they hired her after that. Now, in another side of the coin, she does have an extremely weird following. I am not sure that they're buying books though. So I wouldn't exactly do that. Now, I did read the Donna Troy story and it was nothing. Like, it wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It was just like, meh, I read a book today. Like, it was nothing to write home about. So, saying these heroes are dead are ridiculous. Like, now I want to talk about the heroes as a whole. So, you've got Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Captain America. These heroes, when you look at them and say they're dead, and then you see we're getting Batman by Matt Reeves coming out. You see the Marvel franchise heading into Phase 4, making $1 billion each movie. Not only that, but I'm hoping we get some sort of Superman suit. I would love to see Henry Cavill back in the suit. He is the personification of Superman to me. I love it. And not only that, but we got this Morbius trailer that just came out. So, I don't know. See, I'm not the biggest Marvel person. I'll admit that first and foremost. So I don't know how their writing is coming along. Now, I do know we saw Ta-Nehisi Coates and some of those other people's. Donny Cates, as much as I don't care for him, is extremely talented. There are some extremely talented people over there. But, again, I can only speak, for the most part, to the DC side. This is just a few examples of how they listen to you. So, a lot of people for a while complained about Tom King, myself included. I tried to give him a chance a lot. Like, I feel like I gave him more of a chance than the average person did. But they listened. They turned his run off and they listened. They gave it from 100 to 85. We're like, yeah, we're sticking you to the side with this maxi series and you're done. And now we have Tomasi on it. And I know we're only one issue in, but that one issue has been better than the last 15. So another example from somebody I don't like, but I feel like it's fair to give credit where it's due. So does anybody else remember the book, the beginning of the Wonder Twins, and then Mark Russell doing the one Harley Quinn? I think it was 56. I'm not sure exactly. I ripped it. I ripped it apart. I reviewed both Wonder Twins and that Harley issue. It was complete trash fire. Now, let's take it a year later. What is he writing now? He's writing, well, he just did the Harley Quinn one-shot for Year of the Villain. It was good. It had mild humor. It was relatively Harley Quinn-esque. We got to see all the different villains. So we're getting an improvement on their writing. I feel like at some point they're trying to rein these SJW creators in a little bit. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't like Mark Russell in the least. He's been nothing but terrible to me. But to see such an improvement in his writing is showing. We are literally heading in the correct direction. So I want to talk about professionalism also when it comes to comic books and when it comes to the comic book industry. So I want an honest answer in the comment section. Let's talk a small scenario here. A comic professional within comics came towards a small YouTube creator, called them names, including a bitch, made fun of their voice and their looks, then said they weren't even able to be watched because of no face cam. Mind you, like-minded individuals that do the same type of thing don't show face cam, but that's regardless. And then use their massive platform to send hundreds of people just to bash on them. Not only that, but not setting up a time to do a real debate, to have a real discussion. Instead, just saying, okay, I'm live, you have to be here now, even though you work. So let's say this person was Tom King or Scott Snyder. Can you imagine the outrage that people would feel? Can you imagine how upset people would be? Calling out unprofessional people, stuff like that. But wouldn't most people in their sane mind realize this is not how professionals act? It's just literally not. Guess it would be, Scott Snyder did say one thing against Comicsgate, but one thing. But when the professionals within the movement do it, it's okay. I guess I don't understand. I honestly think it's quite deplorable, but that's me. I don't care. So, anyways, I want to talk about the other side of the creators, because when I was on Twitter, there were 3 different individuals within professional mainstream DC Comics that personally contacted me in my DMs, 2 of which gave me review copies for books that they were getting out. All 3 said thank you for the kind words, stuff like that. Very professional behavior. Not only that, but I have reviewed reviewers' copies of stuff from indies also. So all of those people are extremely professional. That is how you act. That's just professionalism in my manner. I think that here going forward, we are going to see a lot more. Not that anybody likes her, but Gail Simone has been a lot more professional in a sense. I can't stand the woman, but she can write. I'll never forget some of her Batgirl stuff and some of her Gotham City Sirens, Birds of Prey stuff. So going forward, I think we're going to see a little bit of the pendulum swinging. I think we're going to actually see some of these people realizing you can't be somebody with Trump derangement syndrome and then still expect to sell your books. It just doesn't work. And I feel like, for once, they have finally realized that's how they have to go from here. So, the second part of my video I wanted to talk about quickly, because this video is getting entirely too long. I apologize. Here going forward, no more dwelling, I guess is the best way to put it. There's communities out there that just appreciate comics, whether they're good or bad. And those are the like-minded individuals I want to move forward with. And by that, I mean, I've kind of rebranded. I'm doing a new style when it comes to my thumbnails. And I've got a new logo. I've got a new avatar. These little things I'm doing because pushing forward, I'm leaving the past behind. And it's going to be late February or early March, I'm going to be going back to live streaming. And what I mean by that is not just gaming. I want to set up a show weekly that is probably going to happen Friday afternoons, Friday mornings, sometime on Friday, to talk about the week in comics, the new comic book day. And not only that, but what we're looking forward to the next week. I want to call it Coffee and Comics. I know it's the goofiest name ever. But I feel like at some point we need to look at the positive and not always the negative. And I don't want to dwell on the negativity that surrounds the comic book industry, because once you leave the 1% behind, you open yourself up to 99%. So that weekly, it will be myself. And each week I'm hoping to line up new guests. Now I want to line up people that are good people. I'm going to open up the platform as far as that goes. Probably not for another month. But I will be contacting some people I really respect, as far as like Ingleton or Captain Frugal, Mike Miller, some of those people that I would like to eventually get on the show. So if you're interested, let me know in the comments, because I would love to have not only fans, but professionals, indie creators, everybody, like-minded individuals that aren't going to sell, outrage, and negativity. We're going to talk about the positive and everything good going on within a comics community. Let me know what you guys think. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Hey guys, I want to give a huge shout out to my Subscribestar and Patreons. You guys literally make this channel possible. Black Knight Fool, Brucey, Chris C, Dave Ross, David L, Jeffrey Allen Carnes, Sanjuro, Jeremy Burtz, Joe Bustify, Kato Roan, Magical Exotic Diamonds, Mighty Pauls, Mike Buckner, Robert, Steve Glasker, Timothy French, Alice Matt Films, Alexander Trapp, Way Else One, and Troy Reiser. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Don't forget to subscribe and like on the way out, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.